It's about the restoration of our republic. We want to educate, encourage, enable the power. We stand for integrity, honesty, self-reliance, self-defense, and most importantly, no compromise on our foundational principles. This is America's Voice Now.
Find America's Voice Now on Facebook and at americasvoicenow.org. Here's Michael Evans.
Good morning, America. You're listening to America's Voice Now. My name is Michael Evans. I'll be your host this morning. Kind of interesting as we move forward day by day. I think it's at this point almost apparent stark relief that we are consistently sitting in a position of the unraveling and the collapse of the America that we know. And the reason I say that is because the idea of the America that we know is almost no longer visible to us. We're going to talk about that this morning. We're also going to talk about, in our first segment, the White House and how they are telegraphing the president's treason scheduled for 2014. When I say that, I'm referencing the fact that the president is already highlighting the executive actions that he intends to take, which the arguments out there, of course, are, well, you know, he's not the only president to do executive actions, and he hasn't done as many as other presidents. I understand that. But that argument holds no water when we compare the content of his executive actions to the content of prior presidents. And that makes a big difference. See, it's not how many, it's what they contain that matters. It's not a numbers game. You know, if you were to sit and look at a baseball game and say every batter who stepped up hit the ball, what would really matter is how many runs they generated, not how many times they actually hit the ball. If everybody hits just a single, doesn't really make much difference. But if every one of those at-batters hits a triple or a home run, it matters a lot. See, the problem that we have is that, for all intents and purposes, the way that our system is operating right now, there's no one in control. Everything is a lawless endeavor. And that's a problem. Because we don't have, at this stage in the game, anybody standing up for the defense of the nation. Our second topic is going to be the DHS license database. Now, I talked on this the other day, and we're going to hit on it again, because I got to tell you, folks, the issue of data is what is so critically important here to these people. It's more than just the function of having the information. It's what they can do with it and how they utilize it. And by the way, government's not alone in this. I posted up on americasvoicenow.org and our Facebook page at facebook.com/America's Voice Now, and also up on Patriot FB. I posted up this morning a note or an article in reference to this issue. But in addition to that, I also put up an article about how Google, as an example, has been data mining student emails in its free education apps. Now, here's the problem. Our children are under attack. It's bad enough that they would attack you, they would attack me, they would pass these unconstitutional pieces of legislation all over the place. It's different when you're attacking the kids. And these attacks are coming from the left, they're coming from education, they're coming from these corporate leeches. All of it is unscrupulous. It is all greedy micro-tyrants of every color, every stripe, every shape, and every size. They don't view them as kids. What they view them as is a resource. Much like when you look at a pond and you're fishing, those fish in that pond, you don't worry about what those individual fish are thinking or feeling. When you're looking out over a field of cattle and you're recognizing that these are my resource to be used to either feed or to milk, they don't take any concern or special interest in what the end result is for that individual child. Much like you don't take an interest in what the end result is for that fish. You intend to put it on a platter. They have no honor. They have no scruples. And this isn't limited to government. They have no interest in your child's future, or opposing their position that they effectively state publicly. And they have no interest in their life and in what occurs or transpires during their life. All they care about is data, more data, more. The premise behind that is that data can be used to manipulate. And that's what's so important. Google is one of the worst offenders in this. But they're only the tip of the iceberg. And they're only one of tens of thousands, tens of thousands of agencies of the government itself, and corporate tyrants that seek to leech the information from you so that they can use it to mold and shape you in a manner that benefits them. Just think, Department of Education, selling your children's information to Common Core entities and the parent companies that sponsor and run and own the Common Core curriculum. Teachers' unions. Do teachers' unions really care about your kids? I mean, the individual teachers, I'm sure, do. Because they see them every day. And they see those little faces in front of them, and they recognize, this is a child I like. This is a child I care about individually. But the teachers' unions, they don't. They see your child as a resource. Think about these multinational food companies. You know, the big ones, the Swansons, the Nestles, the ones that are putting the poison into the food that you eat. They manipulate you. They want your data because that teaches them better how to manipulate you. Think about Apple. Think about Microsoft. And the list goes on and on and on. Ad infinitum, ad nauseum. It's shameful. And all of it is used against you. Our third topic is going to be administrative agencies. You know, you've heard me talk about these before, but I cannot strenuously enough emphasize the cancer, the metastatic cancer, the metastasized cancer that they have become in our nation. We're going to talk a little bit about how serious a problem they really are. Because you're not governed by government anymore. You're not governed by Congress. You're governed by tens of thousands of individuals, millions actually. And these people are maggots. I'm going to explain to you why they're maggots when we get to that topic. And fourth, America is unraveling. There's an outstanding article out this morning, and I've posted it up again on all of our locations, and I'll put it in the comments or the body of this particular subject on our YouTube channel. But I got to tell you, where this is headed. This, you know, I think it's important that you understand exactly how fast and how far down the road we've slipped. So we're going to talk a little bit about that because it's time for America and you individually to prepare yourself. The story that's out there articulates the problem very, very clearly. And I encourage you to spend a couple of minutes to read it. I think you'll benefit from it. But after you're done reading it, what I want you to do is spend a little bit of time understanding and contemplating the following two issues. One, what can I do to prepare myself and my family and my community for what's coming? And two, what can I do as an individual to help awaken and encourage and wake up others? All right, so let's jump into our first topic this morning. the issue of the White House and how they are telegraphing their coming treason, because they've flaunted and gotten away with lawlessness up until now. You know, over the course of the last couple of weeks, this discussion about how the president is flaunting this lawless attitude has been growing by leaps and bounds. I'm hearing it in all kinds of media outlets. Even official mainstream Ministry of Propaganda media outlets are talking about it. And I see impotence on the part of those people that are supposed to stop it. I mean, the Congress is fretting and they're wringing their hands. They say, there's nothing we can do. We can limit budgets. We can starve them out financially. And yet, Congress just voted an unlimited blank check for the next 13 months. And they, in addition to that, to make things even worse, they just passed a $1 trillion farm bill that everybody knows is 60% pork. So how is that, Congress, starving out the tyrant? I mean, if you disagree with his policies and what he's doing, then why did you give him a blank check to institute them? The courts cover their mouth, they cover their eyes, and they cover their ears. See no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil. The nation is awash in this betrayal. And it is treason. No one intellectually honest, no one with real concern for the nation's welfare will deny that at this point. What it tells us is that the solution to this is not going to come from those who are guilty of the treason. The solution is going to come from American patriots who are going to have to step up. The question I have for you is, do you count yourself among them? And it matters. The White House is actually characterizing 2014 as the year of action. The year of action. And that's inconceivable to me, that a president would actually openly express the fact that he intends to break the law. And he's touting it. I mean, they actually have a video on the official website for the White House that showcases the planned executive actions in just the first 2 months. And they're pushing the phrases he's used, which should ordinarily be used against him in a trial. America doesn't stand still, and neither will I, says the president. So wherever and whenever I can take steps without legislation to expand opportunities for more American families, that's what I'll do. Ladies and gentlemen, that's not a marketing phrase. That's a threat. It's a declaration. It's a guilty plea. The truth of the matter is, the things that he's passing, the things that, and just that phrase alone, the things that he's passing. Find me some constitutional authority that gives the president the right to pass law. The Constitution expressly prohibits and limits his authority in that regard. It delegates that authority to none other than just Congress. Period. The president can only veto and execute those laws that have been passed by Congress. Those are his only two options. The health care bill, and Obamacare, has has provisions in it that are clearly defined. Even constitutional scholars of his party ideology and his political ideology are stating that what he's doing is illegal. Not one, not three, many. I showed you the statement, or I tried to show you the statement last week by Jonathan Turley about how he was expressing that we are stepping into very dangerous territory here, where a president makes law by fiat declaration. And that's exactly what he's doing. He signed an executive order on February 12th, 2 days before Valentine's Day. And he's requiring that any federal contractors pay their employees a minimum wage of $10.10 an hour. Now, remember something. First and foremost, it's not whether or not you agree or disagree with the principle of minimum wage. It's the fact that he doesn't have the authority to do it. Period. It doesn't matter what the topic is. It doesn't matter whether you agree with it or not. What matters is that he's doing something wrong. He doesn't have the authority to do it. And if you ask an individual who has been admitted multiple murderer, one of the things that comes out quite frequently is that is a fairly common thread that runs through their discussions, or the issue of how did you do this? I mean, how could you possibly commit these crimes? Well, the first one was the hardest one, but after that they were all pretty much relatively easy. And you see, we've already allowed him to get away with what he's doing. And we're allowing the treason to continue. The truth is that if we do not stop this, if we don't put a halt to these actions, not because we agree or disagree with the content of the action, it's the action itself. We're setting a precedent that will be used not only by this president, but any future president. Well, hey, you didn't stop Obama from doing it. We'll say another president 2 or 3 down the line. And the constitutional courts didn't stop him. So the precedent was set. Therefore, you can't stop me. Is that what we want? Is that what's right for our country? The truth is that we don't really have anybody in position who will do anything about this. The courts are sitting there like the 3 monkeys, pretending it's not happening because they refuse to step in and do their constitutional duty. See, technically the court, including the Supreme Court, don't actually have to wait to stop this. They could stand up and say, Mr. President, we're declaring that what you're doing is illegal and we're ordering you to stop. I don't want to hear that citizens have to file lawsuits and go through an endless routine of lower and appellate and work their way through a court system at great expense to the individual. I mean, I keep hearing arguments from the Congress, well, we don't have standing, and you can file lawsuits. We shouldn't have to file lawsuits. Government's job is to protect us. And if government has turned from our protector to our demon, and you as a part of that government refuse to prohibit and stop the activity, then you're as guilty as he who is committing the act. You have the method, the means, and the wherewithal to stop it. And if you refuse, then we understand how and why and where. And we realize that you are the problem, not the solution. Not sure how the average citizen can stop this. I mean, I don't know about you, but I don't have the money to fight a federal court case. Where are all the attorneys willing to step up and say, I'll do this pro bono for the benefit of the nation? Well, they're not going to step up, and they're not going to do it pro bono for the benefit of the nation because, quite frankly, they're a part of the problem too. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk about the DHS license plate database that's being developed and how this will be used in conjunction with all of the other issues, including what I talked about the other day with the way that your social media is being monitored and your emails and everything else, to build enemy databases. You can poo-poo that concept all you want, but the truth of the matter is that it's happening, and it's happening right now. Okay, make sure that you visit our sponsors and assist them where you can by patronizing their facilities, because these are the guys that keep us on the air. You can see our friends over at Mini Mart Express 1 and 2, both in West Plains. Both of them have great drive-thrus. They've got outstanding prices on fountain drinks, and they also have lowest prices on tobacco products that you can find. Make sure that you visit them. One is on 14 and 63, and the other one is right across the street on Porter Wagoner Boulevard, right across the street from the City Park, People's Park. Kind of interesting that it's called that, isn't it? While you're there in town, you can swing by Pizza Hut, which is also on Porter Wagoner Boulevard, and get yourself a great lunch and or dinner. Tuesday night, kids eat free. That would be tonight. Tuesday during the day, it's a $5 reduced lunch, and on Thursdays also. So make sure that you swing in there today if you can and take advantage of that. Visit Jason Henry, law offices up on the square in West Plains, handles federal and state cases. I have spoken to Jason, by the way, about fronting some of these cases, and we're working on a couple of issues, but I can't do it all alone, and nor can one attorney. When you get an opportunity to, if you have a need for his services, give him a call at 417-256-4100. It's 417-256-4100. While you're on the square, you can swing in there and get yourself a great haircut at Wits End Classic Barbershop. They do a great job for $10, and you won't be disappointed. While you're in there, you can swing by at the Patriot Cigar and Tobacco Shop as well and get yourself a great cigar or a pipe, a load of pipe, or whatever you want. We're going to take a quick break. Make sure that while you're there, you see Battery Station. They're also right off the square. It's batterystation.com or 417-257-7799. We'll be right back.